Alright, from Namco, it's a port of their 1984 arcade classic, Pac-Land. This was released the same day as Famicom and Onyanko Town, but this is a much more interesting game. Now, the original arcade Pac-Land was really one of the pioneering horizontal platform games. Pac-Land was certainly not the first horizontal side-scrolling platformer, but it was perhaps the most popular and the most influential of these early games. Certainly a lot of the concepts in Super Mario Bros. Originally sprung from this game. The object is to get Pac-Man from his house to Fairyland, which is located on the far right-hand side of the world. You're actually escorting a lost fairy back to Fairyland, but that's not really made clear in this particular port. In the arcade version, you can see that Pac-Man is keeping the fairy under his hat. Along the way, you'll have to avoid various ghosts, collect cherries for points, and occasionally find a Pac-Man power pill. Now this is a cool little game, but you might find yourself taking issue with the controls. The original arcade game didn't have a joystick, it only had buttons. This Famicom port actually sort of replicates the unusual control scheme. The right button makes you move right, the left button makes you move left, and to jump you hit the D-pad in any direction. This backwards control scheme is actually rather counterintuitive, as you can imagine. And unfortunately, I think that the graphical downgrade required by the Famicom makes this game lose a certain amount of its charm. The sprites are a lot smaller, and this version doesn't really have that same sort of cartoony graphical appeal that the original arcade version had. For example, in the arcade version, when you finally get back to your house, the entire Pac-Man family comes out to greet you. That's missing in this version. Or for example, I mentioned earlier the fairy that you keep underneath your hat. We see here a lot of the sort of typical basic platforming that marks this game. When you actually get to Fairyland, you get a pair of magical boots that allow you to sort of jump in mid-air. This helps you get back to your home a lot easier because a lot of the bridges and whatnot are now missing. Looks like I fell right through the platform there. Here we are in Fairyland finally. And now we're on the way back home. So Pac-Land is certainly worth playing at least a little bit. If you've never played the game, it's certainly an important game in the history of platformers. I would definitely recommend trying it, but really it is definitely not up to the same level as the arcade game, unfortunately. If nothing else, it's worth playing to observe the influence this game had on Super Mario Bros.